Hello, friends. I did partially want to be early this time, but I'm not, which is okay. But hello, friends. It's that finally that time, isn't it? This week especially, it's finally that time. So before we begin, hello, hi, welcome, all that, right? But more importantly, regarding this episode, before it even starts and all that, I am excited. I specifically made sure for this one absolutely that I did not look anything up. It was the same with episode uh 5, right? Where it's like, well, it involves Capella, and that's my favorite villain in the series, so I don't want to look anything up, right? Same with this episode, where this has one of my favorite scenes. I had heard the leaks, right? I knew about the leaks of like, oh yeah, there's some added stuff with Al, and there's also 29 minutes to the whole episode, and then the 10-minute speech with a added insert song from Amelia's VA, which is really funny. She has done 4 songs for the series at this point, and if we only go off of insert songs, she's done 3. Um, but I was like, okay, that sounds absolutely fantastic. It is a leak, so I'm always taking it with a grain of salt, right? It might not be true. And then I load this up. Well, rather, I saw the preview images. I saw Al was in there, and I'm like, well, I know Al's perspective isn't really in there too much. So that tells me, enough about that. But then I also, just loaded it up and saw 29 minutes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that leak is probably true. So I am very much looking forward to this episode. This is probably the best moment in Arc 5, as well as just like an absurdly powerful moment in the whole ass series. I will say, for myself personally, this moment is probably the best moment in Arc 5, but there is something that competes with it, and it is a backstory they'll get to with the second COUR, because obviously it's not happening for the rest of this one. We literally have one episode left. And I have a feeling I know what that episode is going to cover. Um, but this is an absurdly strong moment. Like, if not number one, absolutely number two, right, to me. So I'm very excited to get into it. I was absolutely avoiding a shit ton of stuff. They were advertising the fuck out of this. That's how I know it's gonna have some high ass production. Because they were constantly like tweeting about it and everything prior to today, right? So that tells you enough. Um, I will say something I actually forgot to mention last time, which actually kind of relates to this because part of it is the conversation that Al has. It doesn't actually happen in the web novel, but it does in the light novel and all that. Something I did want to bring up last time that I totally forgot. I also forgot to put my phone on silence while watching. Not that it'll matter because I have noise suppression, but you know, vibrate's better actually. Vibrate I'll hear in case there's anything specifically important that I need to get to. But uh, so obviously, there's gonna be some light novel stuff in there, and I'm not familiar with the light novel stuff because I read the web novel of Arc 5. I could have read the light novel honestly, but I just didn't because I was worried about all the corrections and stuff like that had to essentially be made by the WCT and all that because of fucking Yen Press messing up a lot of translations that I kind of didn't want to, right, as a result. Uh, as well as, I think, I don't remember what it was. It's like both versions had their own individual problems in a sense. Honestly, the WCT made it a little bit more concise to read because it's like, oh yeah, you see character names, so you don't even have to think about it a little bit too much of just like, oh wait, the person talking here is obviously, and it doesn't help when once again that stuff gets mistranslated and it's attributed to a separate character entirely, right? Um, but in regards to all of that, I did actually want to do something, right? I am going to for arc 6, 2 things. One, I mentioned I'm probably going to read the light novel. Yeah, we're going to do that, right? I'm probably going to do that just before arc 6 happens because it's my favorite arc. But 2, this is a big one I wanted to mention. I am going to, episode by episode, I will probably upload it here, but it might be on the main channel. I think it'll probably be here though, because I do not want to spam people's notification boxes with uh these videos on the main channel rather than here. But episode by episode, I want to go through and review things and talk about things and then talk about how a scene is handled, talk about the how this affects characters, all this sort of shit. Kind of go really in depth with each episode. I want to do that with Arc 6 because I was reminded the other day that one of the most fun things I've done after watching an episode of something was part 5 of JoJo. I had read part 5 of JoJo and like way ahead of its airing because I read it like shortly around the time that either part 4 had ended or just like a little bit after that, right? It was like either it was about to end and all that and I read it, or it was right after. I don't remember which, right? But I read part 5 ahead of time in regards to that, and then I when I watched it, which I was very excited for because part 5 is my favorite part, right? It's like it's 5, 7, and then from there I have to like think about it a little more. I do know my ranking, but I have to like actually remind myself of it. Um, so then I watched the part 5 episodes and everything, and I reviewed them just on the channel. I just like talked about them, and I was like, oh yeah, and this scene, says a lot because of like what's going on here and the emotions that are kind of conveyed there with voice acting and how it's shown, or like how, this character that we know how they act, right, and all this sort of shit. I loved doing that, right? I don't think my I'm not gonna say like, oh, my media literacy was bad, but I don't think it's like as focused on tiny details as I am now, right? I think I reviewed well back then, but I do think it's not as good as now. So I want to do that for Arc 6. I know I'm kind of rambling here in a sense, and it's like, oh, there's a reaction, and I'm spending a few minutes talking about this. I apologize, but then again, my reactions aren't necessarily, standard. I don't necessarily give too much of a shit about them in a certain sense, right? It's something I mentioned before. This channel is literally for me just watching stuff I enjoy and then talking about it because it's easier on the spot than it is later, right? All that sort of shit. But I think for Arc 6, absolutely, I want to sit my ass down and review it. Anyways, I'm very excited for this episode. Let me take a drink. All right, good. The goblin is also complaining. So maybe I should do this. Don't worry. We shall start the episode soon. Give me two. Oh, I'm stuck. I might be able to reach. But I reached. There we go. Good. Again, I do want, it's a random thing. I mentioned this in videos before. I do really wonder how Oz is going to feel when this chair suddenly changes for people and all it is just like, oh yeah, no, I switched spots. Like, not like, I switched spots, I use my actual chair because it's what I'm currently not using. It's the same model as my chair, but it ain't my chair. Anyways, let's pop all this stuff up. Good. All right. Been looking forward to this a whole lot. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Tap back in case I need to turn up volume. You actually move my maps over also. A little bit. Yeah, so this was added to my knowledge. Mm. I'll turn down just a little bit. Mm. I do like this added scene. This does add a whole lot more to, her whole thing of being there and everything like that. Because, yeah, like I said, in the web novel you don't get this, so it's hmm. Um, yeah, in the web novel you don't really get this, so it is nice to actually have this. His speech mannerisms. We still, even in the web novel, don't know too much about Al, but his speech mannerisms are really interesting. Okay, so they're not. Okay, fair enough. Because I was gonna say, like, it's 29 minutes, so I feel like they might skip the intro and outro, but I would not blame them if they don't because it's also 29 minutes. So I'm cool with it. It is kind of cool that they are extending episode time. I mean, I know they've done it before, but they're extending episode time rather than focusing on skipping intros and outros, which is very cool, right? Gets people to still enjoy this and also still get more out of it. Oh, I'm so excited for the speech. Oh, it's like it's kind of keeping me on edge here. I'm just I want to see the speech, dude. I'm still thinking about. Oh, it's ironic that it was happening there. Um, I'm still thinking about that. One of the things they still have to talk about, and I'm kind of wondering if that's in the next episode because it's really funny that the opening shows some stuff related to it. All right, here we go. Oh boy. Ooh, excuse me. Mm. I like how he just said that like to both of them. Like Amelia doesn't fully get it, and I mean he does, but at the same time, I'll just saying that for the sake of saying it. It's a perfect description for him. Oh, I did see the preview image of that, but mm. I'm like just sitting here thinking about like how early is this speech gonna happen? Like I assume they're gonna end the episode with it. It is 10 minutes after all, and we are like 5 minutes in, but mm. Maybe I move the mic closer. Let me try. Hopefully this doesn't fuck up the audio. If it does, I apologize. Mm. I don't remember them interacting here, but I mean, that's great. Also, I failed to notice the detail on the previous episode of her smiling, which makes a lot of sense. Because, like I think I said, their numbers being all over the place partially relates to, the fact that that's happened quite a lot. I do remember, or not do remember, I do wonder, rather, um, how much those two interact in the light novel. They interact a lot in general in the web novel, but, like, honestly, if light novel has even more scenes with them, double thumbs up, right? I'm totally cool with that. The conversations there and everything are stuff I really enjoy. Is that hmm? I saw her doing this, but at the same time, oh yeah, because that is the scarf, isn't it? I don't know. I feel like I remember that like an actual scarf, but you know what? Fair enough. No, it is because yeah, the middle, the middle bottom of it, yeah, that is the yeah. They word it kind of weirdly in a certain sense because you don't immediately think scarf like that, but yeah, that is yeah because I can see it there. This part I actually don't know because this does not happen in the web novel. That is a actually very fair way of putting it, Al. Because it is a thing of like that is something I really like with a lot of villains, especially like the like asshole type of villains like the scumbags and all that. Is when they've literally never lost in their life because they are that good and all that sort of shit that they never take that shit into consideration, right? Like they never take the lower stuff into consideration, and then it immediately just pulled out from under them. Again, I'm getting who I'm getting excited. There's that nervous butterfly sort of bubbling feeling, but I'm ooh. Yeah. The way they, I mean, I saw a tweet about it. The way they showed Stuber's leg, I am horrified to see other things and regard, like, especially, Karush and all that. Like, oh, because I never imagined it being animated or like just rather like that. And it's like, oh god, pulsating and just like these like vicious lines all across it. Like, ugh. I mean, technically, Julius could almost take credit. Now that said, fighting, the big beast, he does have two under his belt, so also holy shit, the animation on his face there. I think we're coming up because I'm like occasionally looking at the timer and I'm like, I think we're coming up. Yep. Yeah, it's also one of the episodes where I clench up all my muscles a lot because it's just an uncomfortable episode to rewatch. Absolutely fantastic, don't get me wrong, but oof. Actually rewatching it is a tough one. So I like this track that I can only assume to be either just the way it sounds like a leitmotif of either the opening or ending, and I honestly almost want to say ending more so. Might not even be at all, but just sounds like it. Apologies if Mike picks this up because people are deciding to call, and my ass cannot get that. So that's just barely getting it. I was like focusing on not talking there just because I don't know if the noise sensitivity stuff or like the noise reduction works the same way that stuff like Discord does, where it's like as long as you don't talk, it won't pick it up. But anyways, yeah, we're definitely coming up on it because if they still play the ending and we have an after credits, it would be around here, wouldn't it? Like the 10 minute sort of that would be around here. I do really like how much Al's encouraging I'm here, which yeah, oh, this is nice. Yep, they're playing all the big scenes. And then you play Choose Me. Yep. Damn, this is gonna make me tear up. Hmm. You know, I do kind of wonder, just because a lot of this kind of gets people's focus and attention and all that. I do kind of wonder if Arc 9 will start up again after the first core is over. Like, this is our, little. Ironic to call it this, but this is our little break time from Arc 9. Hmm. I love that the relationship between them is always just this thing of like, man, don't make fun of me, don't do all this shit. And Julius is just like, I mean, I'm not gonna. Right? Like, every single time, like, even in Arc 3, he's just like, I'm not gonna. Alright. And music's gonna. Here we go. Oh, fuck. Okay, here comes the. Oh boy. Yep. Yeah. Eh. Oh, they actually have her talking about it immediately, huh? Some of them, if I recall correctly, I mean, just based on like small dialogue, uh, have even worse scenarios. I love that he starts that the same way, but it's a lot more stuttery and awkward than Capella, who's all excited to do it. Ooh. But yeah, some of those people just absolutely fucked scenario. It makes you start to really fucking hate Regulus. Liliana on her back, just completely knocked out. Dude, they are showing glimpses of her, but they are still not showing her at all. I just kind of want to absorb this. I apologize. I know I usually try to talk and everything because I want to add more to my reactions than just sitting in silence, but I kind of want to just absorb this for the time being. Also, this obviously really plays a big impact with uh was it 184 or was is Amelia one? I don't remember. Either no, because I think Amelia's 79 and then she's 184. Because whole point is people being killed and all that in that aspect. Oh, this is good. I'm already really enjoying it. This is good. And if this is actually 10 minutes, holy shit, we still got more to go. The beat of this sounds like an insert song, so I think this is it. Maybe. Even Priscilla's smiling. That's nice. All of them are, damn. Dude. Cruise fans, myself included, just, I mean, she's not in my top 10, but she is absurdly close, so, fair enough. I think fair enough to myself. Like, to my own opinion. Oh, there it is. And I start shouting, right? Yep. Mm, the fucking birds. Those fucking birds that I hate. Oh, this is so good. The color here, the anime. Oh, this is exactly what I wanted. I was worried that we would ever get this because of just the quality of season two being a little bit iffy. I was so worried on how we would get this, and I'm not anymore. There's a chance we might still know him. If, I mean, general theories are so correct and all that. And also that one tarot card I got reminded of. I wonder if people are gonna misinterpret why she's saying that. To take a drink. Also, they are skipping the ending. I can tell by the credits. So now my question is this episode gonna end with somebody showing up to help? Or is that gonna be next episode to end our core? I was just about to say this is a really good shot for having somebody step in. I think, yeah, there he is. Next week's episode, oh boy. They are 100% ending with the volume 3 cliffhanger, and that is going to be awesome. Oh, fuck! Also, I love, yeah, gray and red. Perfect. Perfect. I knew that's what, like, because people were referring to it as this sort of thing of, like, the end card absolutely looks like Subaru and Reinhard. And, yeah, gray and red, of course. Oh, okay. I know I rambled a lot in the start, but I apologize. I got a lot to say. All right. I got a lot to say here. Okay. Um, that was good. That was really fucking good. That again, because of how season 2 was, right? Because of how arc 4, like season 2 was. I was very worried on how this scene was originally going to be handled because it was a thing of I didn't know what our quality for all this sort of stuff was going to be like. I am very happy. I am absurdly happy right now. That was fantastic. Holy shit. I am like actually floored right now. I don't know what to say. It's kind of tough. That was really good. Really like that insert song, which I saw I Trust You there. I don't know if that was the insert song or if that was something separate entirely. I assume so because they always kind of just do that. They show the title of the song in there in the middle of the credits, right? Happens with literally everything, intros, outros, all that. Ooh, excuse me, and insert songs themselves from previous seasons, other animes, all that. So yeah, that leak was correct. I liked all of that shit in there. Amelia's conversation with 184 is, I believe, what it is. Um, their conversation, Al's conversation in there, the speech, Reinhardt showing up, and then just exerting all that power all at once, just in that moment. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I am really happy. That was really good. They nailed it. They, I can safely say they nailed it, and I am so fucking excited for the next core because if I'm gonna be real here, right? This is not even me trying to like bash Bleach or something like that because it's my third favorite series, right? I have been enjoying Thousand Year Blood War so far. I gotta watch the new episode again right after this because I keep fucking up on that. It's also just because I end up busy on the weekends, and then it's like, well, then I have like stuff on Monday, and by Tuesday I'm kind of sitting there like, well, if I don't do it early on, I might as well do it tomorrow because I'm not gonna upload it for tomorrow, and then, you know, oh, it's Wednesday, so people, watch the ReZero one more so, all that sort of shit, right? Because it is a thing of like, as much as I don't care about certain aspects of a sort of reaction formula, it is kind of the thing of like, that said, I don't want to ruin one reaction over the other in terms of me uploading them because I put them out at the same date and everything, right? Like, it's like I do want to have some space in between that, just so it's like, okay, people can watch one and then the other's the next day, right? All that sort of shit. Which obviously means, episode, what is it, like 5 or 6 of Bleach is tomorrow. I think it's 6. Is yeah, because it was airing at the roughly the same time. Maybe it's not 6, because it's 7. I don't know. Anyways, oh yeah, because 7 would be, yeah, 7 would be this Saturday. Sorry, I'm slow on that. But yeah, that means obviously episode 6 will be uploaded tomorrow. But Bleach, for example, right? A big thing with that is I've been kind of iffy while watching. I kind of want to keep this here, so let me do that. Um, I have been kind of iffy so far with Thousand Blood Wars adaptation because 100% added scenes are fantastic. It looks fantastic, all that sort of shit. But there's always like small complaints I have in there towards it of just like, damn, we are spending a lot of time on this specific like stuff and all that sort of shit, right? And it's very small complaints, but it's kind of a thing of like, it's made me sit there at this point, and I know the general thing that episode 6 is going to have before I even watch it. So it's making me sit there and go, I know what the opening shows. And as a result of knowing what the opening shows, how much of the actual fights are we going to have in here, right? It's kind of making me think that of like, are we going to have all of them? Because the opening and outro imply we're going to have all of them. But I can't even say that for like certain because we're at episode 6 and there's like 13 episodes in total or something like that. And it's just like, it doesn't feel like I essentially thought of it as all of the fights have to be like 2 episodes solely focused on the fights, right? Because otherwise, I don't think those are going to wrap up by the end, which I assumed they would at first, right? I thought the cliffhanger was going to be there's all the fights, and I was like, what the fuck are we going to get as original content, right? Like, there's so much to do there. But now I'm kind of sitting here like, are we going to get another really odd cliffhanger where it just like ends at an odd point, right? But with this, it's kind of the thing of like, this is core one, and the next episode is going to end it off, right? Like end off core one. That episode is perfect to end it off because it's like, yeah, that fits as a cliffhanger, right? Um, Getting a notification. Look, got a very peculiar notification, so I'll check that out later. Um, but like this is gonna end off with the end of volume 3. The end of volume 3, I'm not gonna spoil it, but that is a perfect moment to cliffhanger it, solely because that gets people excited for the next core, and then also if you're too excited, it incentivizes reading it, which obviously incentivizes purchasing it. To them, that's all they need, right? Because as many people have told year after year, decade after decade, uh, at the end of the day, that's a point of the like the anime, right? Hate to say it, but that is always the point of the anime is to promote its source material. There isn't always source material, but a big thing a lot of the time is when there is, a majority of the time it's just to promote the source material, right? As much as my ass in the anime adaptations video kept saying, man, I wish we could get, Studio Trigger to pick up Medaka Box and all that, even though they're not the ones who originally handled it and all this, and it's been fucking years since that's been relevant. It's just like, oh yeah, they'd be the perfect people for it. As much as I kept saying that, it doesn't really matter at this point. The series has been long over, right? The advertisement for it doesn't matter anymore. And I think Nisio, is it? Something like that. They're working on a series that has been way more fucking popular for people to talk about and shit like that. So You know, the I don't think Medaka Box is ever getting shit in that regard. I would love it if it did, but that ain't happening. So that's kind of the thing, right? It's like they cliffhanger it like that. It's perfect because it also incentivizes you, the viewer, to go out and purchase volume 19, right? And then volume 20, and then onward, right? I think that's especially why cores are such a perfect like plan to use because yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's healthy. It lets people who are working on it also spend time with their families, all this sort of shit, necessary things. But then it's also this thing of like, oh yeah, for you as the company, you get people excited, and if people are excited, they'll buy that shit, right? If an arc isn't over, people are gonna buy the source material because they want to know how it ends, right? It works perfectly in that regard. And like I said, with this, right, we finished volume 3 of arc 5, which is volume 18, and people are going to be excited. People are going to want to know like what happens next. And then the obvious thing is they go out and they purchase what's next, right? And then I show up at a bookstore because I'm trying to, figure out what I want to buy there because I just collect a lot of books and at this point I'm running out of room on my shelves. And then somebody walks up to me and then asks me about it and then I point them at the volumes that they have to get from that point onward. It's like a cycle essentially, right? But like legitimately it is a thing of like it's perfect for them. This whole way they're gonna cut it off is perfect, and it's not like this ruins the next core. Because let me just quickly do that. It's not like this ruins the next core, right? Because let me explain why in a moment. Yeah. All right. It's not like it ruins the next core, because if we go based off episodes, right? There are 8 episodes in total for both cores. The next one is covering 2 volumes. That is even less than what this core covered. Now, that said, this core had a first episode that covered the entirety of the first volume, right? Like that hour and a half long episode was the entirety of the first volume. Um, but we are still covering more because even in regards to that, right? If we were to just look at volume 2 and volume 3, that's 7 episodes. We're getting 8, right? So there's still like a decent bit, like 4 episodes each. That covers both, right? Perfect. Boom. Absolutely beautiful, right? This is really smart. This is a smart plan. I was worried about the idea of, cores and all that sort of shit being really short because I didn't know how much they were going to cover because I was worried that they were going to cut out a lot, right? I was worried if they were doing because there was also implications of Arc 6 as well. Don't get me wrong, that is still possibly happening, right? We still have to find out in like March, right? But there were implications that from the get go, we were going to get like Arc 6 as well. And I was terrified at that idea because it was a thing of if we don't have enough episodes, that doesn't work. I can see why they would want to do Arc 6, especially how, certain things go down way later on, right? But it's a thing of like, I don't think that that's necessarily a safe plan, with what was originally the idea for that sort of thing, right? But knowing now that it is 8, 8, arc 5, right? Like the 8 episodes, 8 episodes, there's arc 5, right? Perfect. Especially the way they're handling it, perfect. I have no complaints. Like so far, I have barely any complaints at all. It is just, So this is good. This is really good. I am thinking that big backstory way later on might just be either a whole episode or an episode and a half or even 2 episodes maybe. It's a long ass chapter. But I don't know that they're gonna tackle it like too long. I feel like it possibly could be done in an episode or an episode and a half. Uh, I'm hoping for the best with that. I don't even know what that's like in the light novel. I hope it is not shortened in the light novel because it is such a good chapter. So I'm hoping it gets adapted into a really fucking long episode. Hoping for the best with that. But oh man, I'm actually like, I'm thinking about it. The next core is gonna be crazy for people, because people you know, obviously I don't want to go into spoilers, but we're gonna get into like episode 4 or 5 of the next core, and I feel like a lot of reactions are gonna be like, wait, what? Wait, huh? Right? Because it's like, you know, those who know how early something is. So it's just like, yeah, that might be shocking to a lot of people. It was shocking to me too. Um, Obviously, I can't discuss that too much, but if people want to discuss spoilers in the comments, specifically if you make it on the read more section of a comment, because again, I I'm gonna be picky with comments sometimes if they're not on the read more area, right? I don't want to get people spoiled because they look at the comments. But if you just hit, you know, enter, 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 and force it to go down, and then you click read more for that, I would love to have some discussions about that because that's a fun thing in that regard. Man, what a fucking episode! It's got me sitting here like just talking. You know that's how you know it's good. It's got me sitting here just talking about stuff. That was a good ass episode, man. I'm happy. I'm happy. That was really good. 5 and this, mm, phenomenal. You know, if any arc was going to be adapted this well, I'm glad it's 5, and I'm hoping for even better with 6. I know it's hard already to beat this, but like if 6 is even better, I mean 6 is like the favorite one of a lot of people, right? Like even in Japan and stuff like that, from what I understand, that one is also a big deal for people there, which is kind of fucked up in a sense of Arc 4, right? Season 2, Arc 4, kind of fucked up that it got the adaptation that it did, where it was like iffy in some areas, because it's kind of the thing of like people also really fucking enjoy Arc 4. The fact that Arc 4 got fucked over is messed up because that is like, oh, okay, I guess I have to hit play rather than, all right. Um, the fact that Arc 4 got messed up is just fucked up, dude, because it's just like people really enjoy that one as well. But I guess, you know, I guess we can be kind of thankful that Arc 6 probably won't get fucked over. Hopefully. Until, you know, the monkey's paw comes in and it's just like, oh, curl my finger. Um, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. That was just phenomenal. This honestly gets me excited for when I get to do that sort of thing that I mentioned of like talking about Arc 6 episodes and going in depth with them and stuff like that and trying to give my thoughts because like I think that'll be fun, but also just like holy shit, dude, there's gonna be a lot to say. Oh, with that said though, I think that is overall it. You know, I have a lot more I could just ramble on about, but I think I don't want to have the reaction itself be similar to episode 1, where it's like an hour and a half, right? It's already reaching an hour from what I can see there. I think we're good as is. I think we are good as is. So we're gonna end it off there, and that'll be it. Well, we'll be back next week for our finale of the core. And then we'll be back in February, which is fucking crazy to think about. Of it's gonna be that long till we start it up again. I'm gonna be fucking writing ADT again by then. I am like actually gonna be writing ADT again by then. Holy shit! The next core. Oh my god, that's like hitting me now. Oh, oh. I don't have like a teary-eyed feeling, but I have like this overwhelming feeling that's like kind of hitting me in that sense of just like, man, damn, I'm gonna be starting up my writing again by that point. Holy shit. Oh, that's fucking crazy to think about. Wow. I mean, obviously, I'm still working on videos and stuff like that. Like, I'm still trying to push out stuff as best as I can because a big thing with that, that's something I'm going to discuss with my actual ADT video, is the fact that I'm going to get as many videos as I can, you know, ready and out and all that sort of shit. Obviously, with a satisfied result, right? Like in a result where I'm like, nope, this is good, right? Like, I'm not upset about any sort of part of it. I'm just like, nope, good, right? Um, I'm gonna do that as much as I can, but a big part of that is as long as I can get a lot of these scripts and all that and like recordings ready and everything that I need to, footage, whatever it may be for specific videos, all that. As long as I can get a majority of that out, I'm good, right? I'm good to constantly get that stuff out and then also work on ADT and my writing there. So don't mind that. All right. With that said, I think it's about time that we ended off because we really are going to reach an hour on this, which is not a problem. It's just, I don't think we want to reach that just because, like, hooray, we did it, right? But take care. Have yourselves a great night, peeps. Stay safe. And with that said, we will see you all with the end of the COUR. It's going to be crazy to think about, but we will see you all with the end of the COUR next week. I'll try to be early this time. Try to. Farewell, peeps.